He's back.
Who?
Him.
Oi! It's Wednesday here on the PHNX Sun Devils show. Coming to you live from Studio K, presented by Circle K. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by the one, the only Erik Ruby. We have Captain Redbeard behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen. He is the captain of this ship. Guys, do us a solid. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Erik, before we get into the menu of today's show, did I throw you off there?
Yeah, so can you tell me exactly what accent that was?
I feel like that was a little Scottish.
Oi! Oi!
Yeah. No? Do we not?
Yeah, a little bit.
What do you think, Captain Redbeard? Did I nail that one? You've probably been to Scotland.
He's been everywhere.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, see, yeah.
He's gone so many places. He's like, actually, I did end up going to Scotland.
Yeah.
Was that okay?
No,
it wasn't a good one.
It was awful.
No, that's fair. Okay, why not? Guys, we are going to get into Cam Skattebo, the return of Quattro back to the Arizona State backfield. We're getting into the matchup between Arizona State and Kansas State. We're going to hear from both Arizona State coach Kenny Dillingham and Kansas State coach Chris Kleiman a little bit later on in the show. But I do want to address the elephant in the room really
quickly.
Elephant
in the room?
Well, there's a blind mouse in the room for sure.
That's why I'm so scared.
Yeah. No, I think that's valid.
Oh,
That's
isn't it the
valid.
other way around? Aren't they elephants supposed to be scared of the mind?
Yeah,
the mice?
elephants are supposed to be scared of
Okay, I'm sorry. Let's actually talk about the seriousness.
So Cam Skattebo was supposed to be in studio with us today, talking about his return, talking about a bunch of other stuff. Stuff comes up. He had a quick little schedule issue that he had to take care of right in the middle of today's show. So he's not going to be on today's show, but he will be on tomorrow's show. Already confirmed, Cam Skattebo in studio tomorrow, Thursday. But Erik is not going to be here.
This the Diefenbach.
The Diefenbach, the deli man, is going to fill in for you.
Yeah, I have some scheduling issues of my own that I blocked out for that Thursday at that time. But I will be here for our post-game show, ASU GCU. So 2 shows.
We're getting a full, tomorrow is going to be a full PHNX Sun Devils day.
Yeah, 2 PHNX Sun Devils show, both the Diefenbach and the Rubes.
The deli man and Rubus
will be on there. But of course, holding it down in all of them is just the immaculate Anthony Totri. So
I mean, I am just a mere first mate to Captain Redbeard's ship.
I'm excited for Shane to ask Scat what kind of games he likes to play.
What kind of games?
Yeah.
He's a big game guy. He's a big game guy for sure.
Huge. Actually, no.
Shane?
No, Shane. Oh, yeah, Shane.
Shane is like the biggest game guy.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't think Scat's a big game guy.
I think Scat's more of a game guy.
Scat's a big game guy.
I think,
but he's not a big game
Well,
guy.
let's talk about a big game. How about we do that?
Wow.
Arizona
That's why you
State,
get paid the big bucks.
Arizona State, Kansas State, this Saturday, 5 o'clock Arizona time is kickoff for the Sun Devils. And Erik, this is a team in Kansas State that is coming off a bye week. Chris Kleiman said earlier this week in his weekly press conference that Kansas State should be at full strength, minus everybody that was already set to miss the season for injuries. So you're going to have the full roster to go against, to prep for, to stop. Obviously, that starts with Avery Johnson at quarterback. Just your initial thoughts on this matchup. We already kind of talked about the importance of it, but just how do you see this one kind of going down?
This is going to be a good game. I think this is going to be a game with a lot of haymakers. Mm-hmm. I think there's going to be a couple moments where it feels like maybe both teams are out of it and momentum is shifted. Like this, hopefully leading to an ASU victory, but I feel like this has Big 12 game of the year.
Ooh,
potential.
Big 12 game of the year.
because you have a Kansas State team that is still fighting for their chance to play in the Big 12 championship, to continue to be ranked and eventually make the college football playoffs if they can. And then you have an ASU team who's knocking on the door of being an AP Top 25 team, still has a path to the Big 12 championship, but only if they win out. And I think it's an ASU team still looking to prove themselves a little bit, not internally, but externally. And I think this is a Kansas State team looking to extinguish that fire. I think we're in for a good one, especially because 4 is back on the field. This should hopefully be an incredibly exciting game.
It has all the makeup to be, right? Because, and Kleiman said this on it during his weekly presser, right? This is still a 7-2 Kansas State football team.
Yeah.
This is a really good football team. They're coming off a bye week. They are at home. Avery Johnson has been a superstar so far this season for them. And I think there's a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, right? Everybody right now wants to talk about Colorado and BYU in this conference. And there's not a lot of people that are still kind of on the hype train of Kansas State because of what happened just a couple weeks ago against Houston. And they are looking to kind of go out there and showcase that this is still a 7-2 football team. But the fact of the matter is, like you said, Cam Skattebo is going to be back for Arizona State. You already know what he's been able to do against Big 12 defenses really all season long. However, this is a Kansas State defense that if you don't watch a ton of Big 12 football, you don't really understand how good this Kansas State defense is. I think there's a lot of people that want to talk about what they do on the ground game offensively. Defensively, Kansas State's pretty good. They have the number 1 rushing defense in terms of rush yards per game in the Big 12, giving up just 99.8 rush yards to the opposition as a team. Arizona State, no stranger to playing really stout Big 12 run defenses. They did it just a week ago against UCF, which was a top 3 unit. And now you're back against a really strong front, but you're doing it with Cam Skattebo back. I am so interested to see that matchup. And I think in weeks past and games past, you can point to a specific area where it's like, hey, this is a really good spot for the defense. This is a really good spot for Arizona State, or vice versa. But the game's going to be won somewhere else.
So to add a little bit of context to the number 1 rush defense, they have not played a Big 12 team that I would say has a premier running back
outside of Oak State.
Yeah, but Ollie Gordon hasn't been playing like Ollie Gordon. Are we considering Ollie Gordon among the elite?
Gordon is, I'm not totally done with what Ollie Gordon did last year.
Yeah, I think talent-wise, Ollie Gordon is able to be one of the best running backs in the Big 12, but performance-wise, I mean, he hasn't been this year. And he was 15 carries for 76 yards against Kansas State, obviously in a blowout in Kansas State's favor. But him and Devin Neal are the 2 best running backs that they've faced so far. I mean, Jake Retzlaff, who's the quarterback for BYU, but also runs. I mean, they faced him, but he wasn't their leading rusher that game. So it's not like they've been playing the RJ Harveys, the Cam Skattebos, the Taj Brooks of the world and still holding that number 1 defense. So, I mean, this is going to be the best rush defense that I think Arizona State is going to see this season. I think this is the best running back that Kansas State is going to see all season, because after this, they have Cincinnati and Iowa State.
Yeah.
And Iowa State's got a good back, but I mean, Cam is top 2, top 1 back in this conference. So this is like a unstoppable force meets immovable object.
Yeah.
This Saturday, and that's going to be fun.
It is going to be a lot of fun, especially knowing that Scat didn't play last week, and Scat wanted to get in the game.
Was begging.
And now you're telling me that he knows, here we are Wednesday, that he's going to be back in action. He's going to be doing it in a meaningful game in November for this program, doing it on the road where Arizona State's just 2-2 so far this season. You'd love to be able to get to that 3-2 benchmark with the rest of your season being in the Valley, right? In Tempe, and then obviously Tucson to close out the season. So this is going to be a massive, massive game.
That BYU game means a lot less if you lose to Kansas State. Yeah. It means a lot less because you need, I mean, it's still going to mean a lot, right? You're still going to be facing off a top ranked team in the country at home in your final home game of the season where you are shocking everybody.
Yeah.
Right? But your chances for a Big 12 championship go out the window if you lose to Kansas State.
Yeah. And vice versa for Kansas State. Their
if you
chances
lose to
are pretty
ASU.
much done as well. Like this is an elimination game.
Yeah. Dude. It seems like a pretty big occasion. I feel like we should do something pretty big for a pretty big occasion. What do you think?
I think we can do something pretty big.
Something we haven't done all season, maybe?
Something we haven't done all season.
Let's just brainstorm it here.
I think Well, I think Captain Redbeard. I think the captain of this ship deserves.
That's true. Our silent leader. Our silent leader. What's something that maybe we could do that's special for this game that we haven't done at any game yet so far this season?
Drink neutrals? No, I'm just
Okay, well, buddy, I've been doing that.
We could watch the game and live stream our
Oh,
We could do that. We could do a little ASU Kansas State watch along.
I think that's a great idea. So make sure you tune in. We will start streaming on this channel live right before kickoff this Saturday. We are going to be on air watching Kansas State ASU with all of you guys. Have fun with us. Come chat with us. Come celebrate with us. Come cry with us, whatever it is. And then, of course, we'll be ending right as the end of the game goes. Then we'll get ready and give you your post-game show as well. So you get a whole lot of PHNX Sun Devils this week. You got 2 shows tomorrow, one with Cam Skattebo, post-game for ASU basketball, and then you got a watch-along, ASU Kansas State on Saturday. And then, of course, the post-game show to go along with it.
Busy.
It's going to be fun.
It's busy.
You're going to get to see me scream.
Yeah, and I'm going to get probably some Freak Zone.
Live Freak Zone on the watch along?
We might do some live Freak Zone on the watch along.
Oh, that would be huge. It is fun, I will say, and I'm not trying to blow smoke up your butt, but it is fun to watch a game with Totri because sometimes he'll just like kind of lean over and he'll just be like, oh yeah, and this, and I'm like, oh my God, you're smart.
It's the same thing that I do with you with basketball, though.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't know. You're just way more impressive.
You're okay. Yeah, you weren't trying to blow smoke.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Whatever you say. Guys, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button again, drop a 5-star review if you're listening on audio, wherever you get your podcast. Continuing to look at that Kansas State matchup against Arizona State. We already kind of dove into that ground game or that ground defense for Kansas State. The rest of their defensive rankings, they are 4th in total yards allowed in the Big 12, 329.7. They are 10th in pass yards allowed per game, about 230.2. And then they are 4th in points per game allowed, 21.7. Overall, this is a really strong defensive unit. If you want to poke a hole in it, you can in a couple areas. The fact that they haven't necessarily seen a dominant running back to this point in the season, especially in conference when you have Cam Skattebo, who should maybe be a little bit more fresh in the legs than you get him any other week just because he has missed last week. And he has practiced this week as well. I know somebody in the chat was asking about Keyshawn Elliott. Keyshawn Elliott back taking 11 on 11 reps. I fully expect Keyshawn Elliott to be back in the rotation as well at that linebacker spot, which for Arizona State, again, you get your best player back on offense, you get your best player back on defense. Have a tough time believing that either one of those guys was realistically going to miss this game, knowing full well what's on the line. But you can also kind of pinpoint an area where Arizona State's offense can take advantage of this Kansas State defense, specifically in that passing game. Kansas State's secondary is not necessarily the greatest. Again, you want to pinpoint just an area where Arizona State might have an advantage, especially with the way that Sam Leavitt and Jordyn Tyson have been playing the last 3 to 4 weeks.
This is the ultimate connection test for Sam Leavitt and Jordyn Tyson. You're deep enough in the season where you have seen them get reps together. Jordyn Tyson and Sam Leavitt are clearly on the same page. They make big plays basically every single game. And as much as we can rely on Cam Skattebo, if there's a weakness in the defense, you need to exploit it. Yeah. And even when you have Scat, Arroyo's going to air that thing out to Scat or to Jordyn Tyson. Maybe this is a big game for the rest of the room to maybe step up, right? Like to win these type of games on the road against teams that most would say are on paper better than you.
Yeah.
You need your auxiliary players to step up, your players beyond the stars. You're going to need an Xavier Guillory to step up. You're going to need a Shimon Matire to step up. I'd like to see Melquan Stovall get involved. And of course,
say his name.
And of course,
say his name.
Let me say Jake Smith.
Jake Smith. Look, I want to. This is what I'm going to do.
What?
I am going to have a heart-to-heart. I need you to get out of frame. I need to have it's just me and you, Jake. Just you and me. Okay. I want to just talk to you. Okay. You've had a rough go of it. You've had a rough go of it the last couple seasons. I get that. I get that not everything has been sweet. Not everything has been perfect so far for you throughout your college football career. After being, a really dominant player at the high school ranks. This season, there's been 2 opportunities specifically where you've had an opportunity to go out there and make a play. You had a chance against UCF. You didn't catch it. You had another opportunity, I believe, in the Cincinnati game coming out of halftime. You didn't catch it. 2 plays that would have been game-changing moments, not just for you, but for this offense. Sam Leavitt doing a phenomenal job just putting it on the money, putting it on the spot for you, and you can't come up big. Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to wipe the slate clean. Nobody cares about those other games. Nobody cares about those other opportunities, those catches, because Arizona State is 7-2, and you have been a part of this team. Maybe not statistically, right? Maybe not in the impact player way that a lot of folks, myself included, thought you were going to be up to this point in the season. But you have a chance now. You have an opportunity to have a moment on the road in Manhattan against a 7-2 football team, a team right now that is in the top 20 of the AP top 25, a team that is in the top 20 of the college football playoff rankings right now. And you just need to go out there and have a moment and come up big for the young buck, Sam Leavitt, because Jordyn Tyson, everybody in this conference knows, is wide receiver 1. And everybody in this conference is looking at Arizona State's wide receiving core and the usage that you have at wide receiver, and they don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about Melquan. They don't care about Xavier Gilliard. Jordyn Tyson is the guy that they're watching. Go out there and make them regret it. Make them pay for forgetting about you, for thinking nothing of you, for thinking that you're only as good as your drops that you've had over the course of this season. Screw that. Go out there, rewrite your history to this point in the season, and let's have a day. Let's have a moment, and let's go 8-2 because of Jake Smith. I had to. It was a little hard to heart. I just had to do it. I'm sorry, Jake. I'm sorry. I feel like that was fair. I feel like I was kind, but you know, I kept it real.
Yeah, I think you kept it real. Did you like my camera work?
I did. That was good stuff, man. Awesome stuff.
That's how you know we're operating on a different level over here at PHNX.
I mean,
Sun
we
Devils.
do what we have to do.
Yeah.
We do what we have to do.
If you're listening on audio, which, like I mentioned yesterday, we have a lot of new audio friends, and if you want to stick on audio,
I like that, audio friends.
Yeah, and if you want to stick on audio, like we totally understand that. We love audio friends. Just make sure you hit that 5 stars on whatever audio platform you listen to.
Please.
But you missed it. I got up, got out of frame, and then I went over to the camera and I just did a slow zoom in on Totri and let him cook. Because he was cooking.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Look, we're going to continue talking about this matchup. We're going to flip sides and start talking about that Kansas State offense going up against that Arizona State defense. We're going to hear from Kenny Dillingham, Chris Kleiman, and so much more. The PHNX Sun Devil Show is just getting started. We're going to continue our conversation, though, on the other side of this break.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. I'm wearing a Branded Bills hat.
It's a maroon one. I haven't seen this one yet.
Really? I wear this one kind of often.
Really?
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can pull. There's video evidence of me in this office.
You just have so many
single
Branded
day.
Bills hats that I lose track.
I do, and this one's really nice. This one might be my favorite, and I like it because I can wear it with ASU gear. It's close enough. I wear it with my Cardinals gear as well, and that's just the thing with Branded Bills. It's the perfect headwear and apparel that you need. It has snapbacks, which is what this one is. Truckers, fitted, beanies, and tees. Plus, Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. Feel this. Feel this. Come on.
Get it inside?
Yeah, just give it a little feel. That's nice.
Keep
nice.
going.
It's a good material. It's so addicting, even Totri can't stop feeling it.
That's
I
nice.
mean, seriously, this is the most comfortable hat I've ever worn. I wear it when I work out. I wear it when I'm just going out and about. I wear it when I'm on the show. I wear it when I'm off the show. I just love Branded Bills, and you can get 20% off your first order with the business that partners with ASU and is out of Mesa, Arizona. Just head to brandedbills.com. Use code PHNX for 20% off that first order.
Circle K.
Oh,
I know.
Ad read over.
I mean, that's all you got to say, and people start losing their mind. And once you sign up for Inner Circle, you'll understand why. It is their free membership program. It's super easy to download. Just go to the App Store, download the app, and within 60 seconds, you are going to be enrolled. All you got to do is enter your email and phone number, and that's it. You're done. You start pulling up to the pump. You type in your phone number right before you make the transaction, and you're going to start cashing in on those Inner Circle deals, like saving 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. And then every single day after that, if you want to fill up every single day, you can. And you could save money, save 3 cents per gallon every single day after those first 5 fill-ups. Enjoy your member-exclusive beverage deal. Inner Circle members like you can get any size Polar Pop or Froster for just 79 cents. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. Hit the like button.
Yes.
Hit the subscribe button.
Yes.
Drop a 5-star review.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, go to the locker and get yourself an Activate the Valley t-shirt.
Do it.
Mine's ordered. I cannot wait for it to get here. I think we got to get Kenny one. We got to get Kenny one. We got to get Rossini one.
May have already ordered one.
Maybe. That's
He's
true.
a big fan of the
That's
program.
true. That's true.
The
That is
program.
100% true. The program?
The program.
Well, let's continue the program talking about Kansas State's offense against Arizona State's defense. Look, I want to talk a little bit about the secondary for a second because they are going to have their hands full.
Okay.
This is a Kansas State offense that runs the football really, really well. And I know this because I've watched games. I also know this because there was a point where I started I guess it's not really a franchise, but EA Sports College Football 25. I started a dynasty, and Kansas State was the random team that I picked. Avery Johnson's a bad man with luscious hair, okay? I'm just going to put that out there. He has been balling so far this season. I was a Avery Johnson denier at the start of the season. I thought that this Kansas State offense was going to take a hit after losing their offensive coordinator. I didn't necessarily believe in what I saw from Avery Johnson in the limited sample size last season. He has made me eat my words while he is washing his hair with Head and Shoulders. He has been super, super talented, both in the aerial attack and on the ground. He is a pain to tackle. Again, if you go back and watch some of these games, he is a slippery, slippery quarterback. So that is going to be massive for the Arizona State pass rush. It is also going to be huge for that secondary because if the pass rush is unable to get to Avery Johnson in the, allotted amount of time that you would like to see your defensive ends and outside linebackers get there, well, those guys in coverage are going to have to be there for quite some time. And you have a quarterback like this, it makes it difficult to play man coverage, right? So Arizona State, the last couple of weeks, has started to play a little bit more man coverage than zone coverage. I wouldn't be shocked if they opted to play a little bit more zone against the younger quarterback in Avery Johnson's, simply because you can kind of sit in your zones a little bit as opposed to having to run all over the field and follow somebody in man coverage while you have a quarterback just scrambling for his life.
Well, scrambling, but also being protected pretty well by his offensive line.
Yeah.
Too. Like, he can move, but he's not necessarily like sprinting outside of the pocket every time. Like he stays in there, and then if the pocket collapses, he'll take a couple steps to the side. And his offensive line is good enough to adjust and continue to block and protect him so he can deliver it downfield. Huge test for the secondary, huge test for the defensive line to get Avery Johnson off of schedule, to get him moving around. Because yes, if he's running around, he's a threat, but he's shown that with his feet planted, he could throw a ball and he could throw it real nice, and get the secondary some extra time to figure it out and get their bearings about them. Just like, I went back watching the West Virginia highlights. West Virginia got no pressure on him. None.
And that's also a team in West Virginia that's been pretty impressive so far this season.
And so you really need your defensive line to get Avery Johnson uncomfortable, because when he is comfortable, your secondary, not that they don't stand a chance, but it's really, really hard to get him to throw a bad ball.
Yeah, no, you're right. Will in the chat, the D-line needs to step up. Hasn't got much pressure the last few weeks. Yeah, I tweeted it during the UCF game that I thought that Brian Ward should bring a little bit more pressure because the front four weren't getting it done. And, the same way that I had the heart-to-heart with Jake Smith, I think there needs to be, a conversation with Prince Dorba as well. Like, I think Dorba needs to... something's got to change right now, because going into this season, Dorba and Clayton Smith were a phenomenal tandem, phenomenal duo. And I think Clayton Smith has held his end of the bargain. But thus far, Prince Dorba, in terms of being able to get to the quarterback and bring him down, it's been a little bit lackluster, to be honest with you. CJ Fight, he had a sack this past game. When Justin Watley is in the game, I think he's been really impressive so far this season as a transfer. But I think, again, some of those guys that were here last year, in Elijah O'Neal, a Prince Dorba, like, I would just like to see a little bit more from them, especially in these games where it is more of a back and forth and these possessions mean so much.
Well, yeah, and in a game where I just mentioned, if Avery Johnson's comfortable, not that you have no chance, but your chances of winning drastically slimmer.
Yeah.
If Avery Johnson is cooking.
Yeah.
And that's the same way where if Sam Levitt's cooking or if Cam Skattebo's cooking, then Kansas State has a lot less of a chance to win. Like that, the big players, they win big games. And Prince Dorba going into the season, we're like, he's a big player.
I said he was the best pass rusher on this team.
One of the best defenders on this team. We're like, oh yeah, it's Prince Dorbah. Like when he was gone at the beginning, right? You're like, oh, this is great. This defense is playing awesome. Plus,
you get him back.
You get to add Prince Dorbah, and he just hasn't been that. And maybe it's just a rough start to the season has kind of kept him off of getting to where he fully needs to be. But he has to be better. This entire defensive line needs to step up, and you need to make Avery Johnson uncomfortable. Your secondary, you're going to need another good game from LaTerrence Welch, who had a big step up after getting targeted early and then ended up with a pick and played some good defense. You're going to need Javen, and you're going to need Keith and X. Like, you need everybody to step up and to play your best football when you're not just playing a good team, but you're playing on the road. And defense on the road can get tough, especially when the offense has some momentum. Like, you're not playing an Iowa team that's like, okay, well, who knows that they're going to score a lot of points, even if it's a
Iowa
tough...
State. Iowa does not score a lot of points.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
It's not like you're playing an Iowa team where you're like, we know they're not going to score a lot of points. You know, even if it's a tough home game, if we put up 21 to 30 points, like, that's a win. Mm-hmm. Kansas State, you play them at home, there's a chance they could put 40 on your head.
Yeah.
You know, if everything is cooking and
God, that would be so awful.
Yeah, that would really suck.
That would be
we would
so
end the watch.
awful.
We would end the watch along.
That would be literally the most painful thing.
Short Bus is asking me to step out of frame so that you can go again. Do you want to speak to Prince Dorbah?
Yeah. I feel like
it's
me and Prince we've already spoken. Like,
are you the king?
The king.
Are you King Dorbah?
I'm not King Dorbah. Maybe his father's King Dorbah. That'd be cool.
That would be hard.
That would be really hard.
I gotta find
King Dorbah and Prince Dorbah.
I don't know if it's gonna be a thing.
Sure, Buzz. Hey, D-Line. It's me, Totri. Listen, we need 15 sacks this weekend. Yeah, I mean, D-Line, if you're listening, we'd love that. We'd absolutely love it. And I think that is partially 15 sacks, obviously an over-exaggeration, but getting sacks in like premier moments, in high-stake moments, in a 2nd and 10 that makes it a 3rd and 17, right? Or it's a 1st and 10 and they're opting to pass and you're able to sack them and it's a 2nd and 15, right? Like, getting those big plays in big moments is what's going to help Arizona State get off the field defensively, because we saw it last week against UCF. The stats ultimately didn't tell the full story, because it looked like it was Arizona State and UCF were similar on 3rd down conversions. But did it not feel like UCF was converting 3rd and longs like time and time again?
It felt like completely opposite things.
And how do you stop that, right? Well, you get the quarterback moving. You put him under pressure. You make him have to get rid of it quicker. And that's something that Arizona State's defense did not do very well in the first half against UCF. And in the second half, RJ Harvey said, hey, I'm here. I'm just going to run the football. So defensively, you need to figure that out. Now you do get the return of Keyshawn Elliott in that second level of defense, so that's certainly going to play a role and be beneficial. But overall, Kansas State's offense is 6th total yards per game in the Big 12, averaging a little bit more than 420. In terms of pass yards per game, they're about 10th in total pass yards per game, 214. So they're, again, not a giant aerial attack team. When they do throw it, they're good. Avery Johnson's a good quarterback, but they live and die by the ground game, similar to Arizona State. They're 3rd right now in the conference in terms of rush yards per game at 208.
Giddens is a good back, man.
He is a really good
back. He's
back.
Almost at a K on the season. He's at 995.
He's a sneaky good back in EA Sports, by the way. Sneaky good back.
Is that your scouting for every team?
No, not every team.
No.
Not every team. I watch a lot of the games, but
it's the game.
Kansas State is like the only random dynasty that I have in EA. So I'll say this. Avery Johnson is so fun to play with in this game, but he's not very good at throwing the football in the game, which is not what real life is
it's
like.
Not real life.
Overall, though, this offense is about middle of the pack when it comes to just scoring points in general. 31.2 points per game. That is good for 9th in this conference. But we've talked a lot about this Kansas State offense. I do want to get to Kenny Dillingham really quickly, just on what he thinks of Avery Johnson, obviously the Kansas State quarterback. This is what Kenny Dillingham had to say on Monday about Avery.
Avery's a star. He's a star in the making. I mean, I recruited Avery. Like, I recruited him at Florida State. I recruited him at Oregon. His mom's one of the nicest ladies. His dad's an awesome dude, one of the biggest Chiefs fans you'll ever meet in your life. He had a garage just filled of Chiefs stuff that they would FaceTime me from. His sister lived in Vegas for a long time. His brother's an engineer. Like, they're just a really, really good family. And he's a really, really good, smart kid that runs 4.3. and can throw it 50-something yards and is super intelligent. So he's got a really, really bright future, a very, very bright future. And in football, I asked, coach at Big 12 Media Days, they said like one wish from the other coach. I said, don't play him when we play us. So I'm hoping that still happens. So regardless of what happened in the Houston game, that is not a reflection of this football team. This is a really good team. This is a team that was picked to win the Big 12 by a lot of people. This is a team that still is at the top half of the Big 12 race, playing at home. So this is a really good team with a really good quarterback, and it's going to be a great challenge.
Okay, so we're going to get to more Kenny Sound, and we'll dive into more Kansas State. But real quick, what stood out to me from that clip is you just got an inside peek of how Kenny Dillingham recruits. That dude knew every single fact. He knew Avery Johnson's social security number.
Yeah.
He was like, oh yeah, I recruited him all these years ago. His father is 6'2", firm handshake. He has a mole on his left shoulder. Like that's the type of thing. Like this isn't even somebody that ended up on Kenny's team. Like you just got to look into how
didn't even recruit him here. It sounds
this is how you get a peek into like why people love this guy and why they will go and play for him. And we'll hear some more from that kind of guy and more of what he thinks about Kansas State. But we're gonna do it right after a quick break. Empire Today, our friends, good friends, because I love floors, and that sounds weird, but I do appreciate
floors.
I love floors. You ever do, we mentioned this, a good floor lay.
I mean, here, you do this, I'm gonna do it.
Oh, quick floor lay.
I give a good floor.
Do you want to know why Anthony Totri is comfortable laying on the floors over here at PHNX? It is because we have Empire Today flooring, and let me tell you, nobody does it better. Now they're easy. Can you stop groaning down there? I know it feels good, but you don't need to groan. I'm doing an ad read. They're easy, they're quick, and they're convenient, but they're not just there to get in, put the cheapest flooring in your home, and then get out. No, they're there to give you the best flooring. Flooring that matches your home, your apartment, your work, whatever it might be. And that, of course, is with their free in-home estimates or their floor virtual visualizer that you can just hold your phone up and see exactly how it would look in your home. And right now, you can save $350 if you schedule a free in-home estimate today, and all PHNX Sun Devils listeners will receive $350 off when they use promo code PHNX. Some restrictions do apply. See EmpireToday.com/PHNX for details and get floor laying sooner rather than later.
That was awesome.
Okay, I want to do that now.
I mean, it feels good, man. A good floor lay is awesome. Almost as good as our friends over at Chicken and Pickle. Would you pipe down? I'm working on something over here. Guys, Chicken and Pickle, the vibes are immaculate. The food is immaculate. And the drinks are immaculate as well. So whether you know how to play pickleball or not, you are bound to have a good time at Chicken and Pickle. But I'm not sure there's a faster growing sport in the world right now than pickleball. Than pickleball. They have got competitive nights. They have got nights for newbies. They got it all over at Chicken and Pickle. So bring a date, bring the friends, bring the fam, bring the co-host. Go have a time over at Chicken and Pickle, guys. Head to chickenandpickle.com. That is chickenandpickle.com to see all the fun that you guys can have at their Glendale location.
God, we're just having a silly, goofy day.
We're just having a silly, goofy kind of day, man. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. It's just the air.
It is in the air today.
It's in the air. It's the silly, goofy air.
Yeah.
Are you feeling silly, goofy today, Captain Redbeard?
Always.
He's the silliest,
I'm not sure
guy I've
there's
ever met.
A more silly, goofy guy that I've ever met in my entire life than Kyle. It's just unbelievable. And he's the captain of this ship, guys. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Look, we obviously talked a lot about Avery Johnson. Kenny spoke about Avery Johnson. I want to talk a little bit about this Kansas State offense as a whole, because you mentioned Giddens. Giddens, I don't think gets enough love in terms of Big 12 running backs because you have guys like a Cam Skattebo, a Taj Brooks, and Ollie Gordon even, right? And RJ Harvey. Like there's a lot of really talented running backs in this conference. Giddens packs a punch. He is very, very similar to a guy like Cam Skattebo, who is simply, I will run through you. He can run around you if that's what presents itself. But more often than not, Giddens is a guy that's going to lower his shoulder and put you in the dirt. He's effective in the passing game, but overall, this is a Kansas State offense that is similar to Arizona State. Like they will, if you give them the opportunity, just run the football down your throats, open up the play action, open up the RPO actions, and they will let Avery Johnson just feast on you with what he does best, and that is quick reads, running the football, and they are a pain to stop, especially when they get a defense on their heels.
Question for you.
Answer.
DJ Giddens is the blank best running back that ASU will face this season.
Goodness gracious.
So contenders for top: Taj Brooks, RJ
Harvey's one.
I put Ishmael
Mahdi is in the top 4 right now.
Devin Neal.
They've faced some dudes.
They have faced some.
Corey
dudes.
Kiner doesn't get enough love.
Yeah,
He's a Cincinnati running back.
Micah Bernard.
Yeah, Micah.
Out of Utah.
I mean, every week you're playing a good running back.
Yeah. So where do you think he ranks?
He is top 5. I think he's top 5, to be honest with you. I think Giddens is after dealing with RJ Harvey and Taj Brooks already this season. I think Arizona State knows, what they're dealing with Giddens on Saturday. I think RJ Harvey is more difficult to actually tackle. I think Taj Brooks is a pain because he hurts to tackle. Giddens is a balance. I'm not saying that he's better than either one of those running backs. I don't think he is. But that is just because he's not one of those guys doesn't mean you can't take him seriously. There's a reason that this offense is 3rd in the conference in terms of the ground game, when they do have, a ton of other running backs, right, in this conference. Part of it has to do with the fact that Avery Johnson and DJ Giddens, they go hand in hand really, really well, similar to Skat and Leavitt.
Maybe the best running back quarterback combo this team has faced.
I'll give you that. Oh,
Texas Tech?
No, I don't even count Tech. I would say Jalen Daniels and Devin Neal is a better quarterback. I think so. That's just me. That's
close, Chad.
Maybe again, I've just played with Kansas too much in EA. Maybe that's what it is.
Well, Chad, you guys let us know. Who's a better quarterback, running back combo? Jalen Daniels and Devin Neal or Avery Johnson and DJ Giddens?
Yeah, that's fair. Mars in the chat. Skat is back. I hope he's 100% because with Kansas offense, we'll score. The big difference will be the defense. Can we hold Kansas to some stuffs and get the back enough to score more? Well, I guess that remains to be seen.
Well, in case you missed it, yes, Skat is back. But also, Mars, if you want to watch the game with us, we're doing a live watch-along on this channel right here, PHNX Sports. Hit that like and subscribe button. Turn noties on so that on Saturday, as soon as kickoff, we'll be live right here before our post-game show, which we'll still be doing. So if you want to watch, if any of that happens with us, we formally invite you, Mars, to come watch with us on Saturday.
Did you say noties?
Yeah.
Is that what you do? Is that for notifications?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't realize you were so old.
Guys, look, we've talked a lot about the Kansas State offense. This is what Coach Kenny Dillingham had to say about the Wildcat offense.
Their running game is old school, 12 personnel driven, 13 personnel. I mean, they'll get into some 14 personnel. They'll put them all on the field. And when you do that, you create really good play action. And that's how you get people open is run and play actions. And they do a really good job scheming up play action pass game, specifically in the red area, to get those tight ends open. But it all starts with the premise of they can run the ball, they can have a quarterback that can control the edge with his athleticism, which means now you have to cover people in one-on-ones, then you have to account for the quarterback pulling the football. You have to get your hats right inside, but you also have to be aware for tight ends leaking in every way, shape, or form they could possibly leak. So they do a really good job as a staff, making you defend the entire football field, even in the red area.
I have a question for you, Erik.
Oh, me?
Yeah, for you.
Okay.
So he said 12 personnel, 13 personnel, 14 personnel.
Okay.
Let's see if you've been paying attention at all for these freak zone moments.
Oh, no.
What is 12 personnel? What does that
personnel?
mean? What does 12 personnel mean? Don't Google it. Don't Google it.
Yeah,
Just take a guess. Just take a guess. As you Google it.
Yeah, one running back, 2 tight ends.
Okay.
See, so there's this thing about me, and I don't know if you know this. When I get put on the spot, I freeze.
Yeah.
I freeze. Like, I'll be talking to Megan, and she'll ask me, like, the most simple question
and
ever.
You're just gone.
And I'll just freeze. She'll be like, what did I say, like, 2 minutes ago? And, like, I'll know. But because you asked me, the only thing I could think about is, oh, my God, I got asked a question.
Okay, so what is 13 personnel?
That would be, like, 2 running backs and 2 tight ends?
Nope. So 1 running back, 3 tight ends. The second number is always tight ends.
And then it would be 1 and
14
4.
personnel. Yeah. So there are not a lot of teams that run 13 personnel and 14 personnel. Because if you don't have athletic tight ends that are just, that capable, then you don't see that often. 12 personnel really is the most that somebody will run. You see a 13, 14 personnel if you're on like the goal line, maybe. You can get your big bodies in there. But what Kenny is emphasizing here, right, is he was asked about the athleticism of the actual tight end room and some of the bigger bodied wide receivers that Kansas State has. And it has played to their strength. I believe they have 4 guys that are 6-something and above that have at least 2 touchdowns. And that is because they can run at you in this 12, 13, 14 personnel even. And you have to be aware. You can't get sucked in by the ground game. You have to always, keep your head on a swivel because these tight ends will leak out. They'll run seams up the middle, and you'll get lost, right?
Yeah.
And they'll get lost in the secondary, and that's something that you can't afford to happen, especially when you are on the road against a team that does have some big bodies, but they do love to run the football.
Yeah, they have multiple 6'5" tight ends that have multiple touchdowns, but all of them are under 100 yards this season, except for Garrett Oakley, who has 119 receiving yards. So it's not like a death by tight ends, but it's more of a get finished
It's
off.
more of a gotcha.
Yeah, like, oh, you're focused on Giddens. Oh, you're focused on Avery Johnson.
Yeah.
Whoop.
That sounds exactly like Chris Kleiman. That's exactly how he sounds.
Bloop.
Yeah, he makes the bloop noise too.
Anytime I make sounds like that, I think about Jonathan Gannon. Sorry to go Cardinals on everybody.
Where are we going with this, man?
But when he first got hired and he met Rondale Moore in the hallway, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, look at you, explosives! Pew!
Oh,
pew,
yeah.
pew, pew,
That was
pew,
pretty
pew."
cringe.
Yeah, but look at him now, top of the NFC West. Get stuffed, haters.
Okay, there you go. Well, I mean, the haters should be getting stuffed. At least the Big 12 media should be after the media poll that they put out at the start of the season. Look, everybody has talked about it already. Arizona State picked to finish last.
What?
In the Big 12? Yeah, you didn't know that?
No,
They were picked to finish 16th.
But they're 7-2.
They are 7.
So why would people think they'd be so bad?
I couldn't tell you. But Kenny was asked during his weekly press conference just the impact of the media poll and really how much it's made a difference on this year's Arizona State Sun Devils.
I probably talked about the preseason media poll twice, like maybe 3 times all off season. Like, if they didn't see it, like, were they living under a rock? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to state the obvious. Like, everybody knows we are predicted to suck. How many times am I going to say, guys, we're predicted to suck before they see it that we're predicted to suck? Like, is what it is, right? It was the ability to not care. Like, who cares? Like, yeah, they think of that. Well, there's a reason most of these guys transferred here just because their last place didn't think they were worth anything anyways. Most of them didn't play at their last school. So they thought we sucked too. Like, that was the nature of our team, was a whole bunch of people with chips on their shoulders. So I never thought that the media poll specifically was that, fuel to the fire. Yeah, but was that we recruited guys that were driven internally to be really, really good. And that wanted to be good internally, and that wanted to push themselves to be better, and wanted to be at a place where they could be themselves. And I think those kids being comfortable here, being able to be themselves here, knowing that they're going to be held to a standard, but we're also going to, get their butt kicked in a video game by the head coach and have that balance. Like, I think that balance of having a lot of fun but working really hard has really put these guys in a position to start believing one another because the relationships they're building. And I think there's genuine relationships on this football team that'll go beyond this season.
I remember when we talked to Kenny all the way back at Big 12 Media Day out in Vegas, and we asked him if, that's something that he talked about or if he uses to motivate. And he's like, yeah, you can't stop people from seeing that. But he was so unbothered about it. And I think it's because deep down inside he knew. Like, I don't know if he knew that they'd be 7-2, but I think deep down inside he knew that his approach and his process was working and that they were going to be better than what people expected.
Yeah. I mean, has anybody ever doubted you?
Yes.
And what did that do to you? Right? Was that
crumble and cry?
Oh, is that what you did? You're just a big loser,
like a little baby.
Yeah, you're just a weenie.
No, I got to step up. See, you know what's great now is I know I have a lot of doubters now because I completely fumbled the 12 personnel question, and we were talking about it. We were talking about it during this clip, and it's like I literally I know what that is, but I just froze.
I mean, you were picked to finish 16th in the
and you know what? I deserve it, but now it's a chip on my shoulder. Ask me again.
No, I'll ask you a different formation later.
You ask me about I don't know, like the pick and roll or something.
No, I won't actually. But
How can we
talk
implement
about
the pick and roll?
Don't worry, a little later.
For Arizona State football.
A little later. Well, here we go. I'm gonna put you on the spot again.
Oh no!
You asked for another question.
No, I asked for the same question.
No, different question.
Oh,
what's the middle eight, Eric?
The middle eight.
The middle eight.
Well, that's
you
your
got
line.
this.
That's your line.
No.
Oh, the middle. Oh, like the minutes, like the middle eight, like the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half.
There we go.
Okay.
Nailed it.
Okay.
The middle eight, baby. That's something that Arizona State has dominated so
I'm
far
gonna leave.
this
I'm gonna get off.
season.
I'm gonna go off. I'm gonna go off and just
He's
get
like
behind
sweating.
the camera
You guys
again.
can't see it. He's sweating.
Dude, I get, and it's like not just like in sports, but like I just get in these moments where like my brain just free, which is like ironic because like I speak for a living.
Yeah.
But like my brain will just stop working. It'll be like, oh, what's 4 + 4? So sorry.
You got it. You got the middle eight. And
I
it's
did.
it's an area where Arizona State has been pretty dominant so far this season. It's helped them control the pace of the game, the time of possession of the game, because of the style of their offense. And a lot of it has to do with the belief in the middle eight from Kenny Dillingham. Kenny was asked in his weekly presser just where this mentality kind of comes from the middle eight. And this is what he had to say.
Yeah, definitely a big believer in it for that reason and the natural turnover it creates, right? Every other time you score, you give the ball back to the opponent, other than when you score at the end of the half. If they don't have enough time to score, that's a natural possession you gained in the game, which to me is a turnover. And it was really the first coach that really like dived into it heavy was, Coach Lanning. The middle eight to me is more of a defensive philosophy because the defense doesn't want to have to go back on the field. Offensive coaches, we're like, score as fast as possible. Oh, there's 2 minutes left. Get a stop. We'll score. We'll get a stop. We'll score twice, right? As opposed to the philosophy of it's all about points per possession, which means if we have one possession and they have half of a possession with 30 seconds left, that's more valuable than us having a possession and a half and them having a full possession, right? So it's more of a, when I was with Dan, and he harped on it to me, and that's where I always knew about it, but like I really started to believe in it. And if you can look at those games at Oregon, we actually, I think, led the country that year that I was the offensive coordinator there in the middle eight and in the last drive scoring. There was a period of time that's very similar to us right now where the stat is just really, really big in that period of time. And that's just because we call it for that. We prepare for it. We talk to our guys. And that's huge. I mean, it's the difference maker when you're talking winning the margins.
And it has been the difference maker
Yeah.
for them. That's how they won that UCF game, was because of that middle eight and especially how they ended that first half. I mean, that's absolutely huge for them. And another example of something that Kenny Dillingham installs in his team and that it's actually taking life on the field. And it's very rare that coaches can say something and it actually gets backed up. And we have some questions in the chat pertaining to basketball, specifically my update on my championship game, which it was a playoff game, definitely not a championship, and my stats. And I will give that to people right after a quick break. I had a rugged road to answering some questions earlier today. It was not the easiest path traveled. But rugged road is also a good thing when we're talking about coolers, because you don't want to use your old cooler where the ice is melting about 5 minutes into putting it down there. It just ends up becoming soupy, lukewarm water, and your cans are in there, and it's a party pooper. And if you're tailgating, if you're out hiking, if you're having a house party, you want to have a good cooler. And rugged road is unlike any other ones. They're floatable. That's right, floatable. They have a lightweight design, but with heavy duty mechanics in it, durable and dependable, versatile, and of course, the biggest part of all of it is their coolers are guaranteed to keep your contents cool for an entire week, but oftentimes much longer than that. So if you have back-to-back home games for ASU, you can put everything in the cooler and then leave it for 7 days later, and it's still cool. And right now, get ready for all of your adventures with Rugged Road coolers. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com. Use code PHNX for 10% off your order. Leave that old heavy cooler at home and get yourself a better cooler for the new season. Rugged Road, your ultimate outdoor companion. You look like you zoned out a little bit.
I did
there.
zone out a little bit.
You okay?
Yeah. I'm prepping for all of the events that we have.
It's a lot of events.
We got a lot of events
Really
going
cool
on
events
here at PHNX that you guys can come be a part of. Come hang out with everybody here at PHNX. And if you're an Arizona State fan, well, I'll tell you what, one you definitely want to take note of is the PHNX Territorial Cup Takeover on November 30th, presented by Neutral and Branded Bills. We're going to have a pregame meetup at Bourbon Vent in Tucson, food and drink included, Also, the game ticket to the Territorial Cup is included as well. Tickets available at gophnx.com/events. That is where you are going to find all of the great events we have here at PHNX. Yes, Mr. Rubis.
Including this Sunday, Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass 1:30 tip off. PHNX Suns watch party, Suns Timberwolves. I'll be there. Come hang out with us. Come have a drink with us. Come have some food with us. Come watch some basketball.
Interesting question in the chat from Sam. Well, I want to get to that, but you go ahead. Say what you got to say about your basketball.
Okay, so it was round 1 of the playoffs, so we were like the last seed. Right. So it was upset season was brewing. And we get in there, and this is a team that we actually lost to because Gerald Bourget turned the ball over at the end of the game when Shane had a wide open.
You just threw him under the bus like that.
Yeah, in the first game. This has already been established. In the first game we played, it was Shane Diefenbach allowed an and one on the other end to go down a point after we took the lead and stormed back. And then we had a chance to win on the other end, and Gerald was inbounding it. Shane was wide open. And Gerald threw the ball directly to the other team. And this has already been all hashed out on PHNX Suns. So this is a team we felt like we had a chance for, even though they were a way higher seed than us. So we get there. This is right after Gerald announced that he was having a kid. You know, we were feeling good. We actually had some subs this time. And we start off,
invite, by the way.
We're up like 19
Was
to 7.
not invited to be a part of this team. Or
Not my team to invite you. It was Gerald's. Get mad at Gerald.
Kyle, you want to start a team?
Yeah.
So Gerald actually nails a deep 3 in his first touch and screams, "That's for my child."
Wow. His unborn child.
And then we go up like 19 to 7. Right.
Wow.
And I'm playing great defense. I'm out there and being
no
connector,
offense.
Right. Not at that moment. Right. And then they go on like a 20-0 run, and so we're down. And then I hit a fadeaway 3, nothing but net. Cash.
Dang.
Thank you. And then I hit.
Only had 3 points in 27 minutes.
I had a couple layups. But my highlight of the game was somebody turned the ball over and they had a fast break, and it was one guy all ahead, and I busted my booty all the way down, and I went up. He went up for the layup, and I swallowed it whole. I spiked that thing into the ground to the point where he was looking at me like,
pause.
And he was looking at me like, what? And then the other team started dapping me up. Everybody was like, what the heck? Wow. So that was the highlight. We got our butts kicked, though. Yeah. Anyway, more important question. Samuel Ortega, what do you guys think of those who say Deion Sanders is coach of the year over Dillingham? I would say it's those two in the running.
No, BYU's coaches certainly.
I think those two and BYU.
If you had to rank them 1, 2, 3.
Likelihood or who I think is most deserving?
Who you think at this moment is 1, 2, 3 Big 12 coaches?
Okay, but again, deserving or what other people are going to pick?
You have the votes.
Okay,
1, 2, 3.
If I have the votes, I still am giving it to Kenny Dillingham.
Really?
Because Kenny
Over
Dillingham
both the BYU
had the
coach
lowest expectations out of all of them.
Yeah. That's the only reason.
I mean, I think they've all had low expectations. They all have a lot of success. They all have good records. They've all been surprising. But Colorado had more established talent from last year. BYU, I mean, I guess maybe BYU first over Colorado, but
they're still undefeated.
Yeah, I think I would give it to Kenny, but that's probably the biased part of me. But he's certainly in that conversation. I think you can't go wrong with any of the three, and I know that pains me to say, but they've been the 3 best coaches as far as turning your team around and defying expectations.
I would agree. I think if it comes down to Kenny and Deion, I think Deion's going to win it.
Well, yeah, because that's why like when you asked me like who's most likely to win it,
I don't think Deion's the most deserving out of the 3.
No,
I don't think he's undeserving. I think what he's done and hand up. I did not think this team would be very good this year. They have been one of the better teams all season long. Tip of the cap to them, to be honest with you. Arizona State has been just as good in conference play and non-con, everything overall. Like, I just think it's going to be difficult to give it to somebody other than the BYU coach if they go undefeated and win the conference.
Yeah.
But if it comes down to Kenny and Deion,
they're going to give it to Deion.
Yeah,
they'll give it. They'll give it to Deion.
100%.
That's why I wanted to clarify. But maybe we can get more into that at the end of this season, right? Because right now we got to focus on Kansas State, and we got some Chris Kleiman.
We do have some Chris Kleiman sound. Have you ever heard Chris Kleiman speak before?
No, not yet.
I'm just curious if you could do a Chris Kleiman impersonation of what you think it would sound like.
Skattebo is the best running back in the Big 12.
Sounds like he's wearing a hoodie almost.
Hide your friends.
Yeah.
Hide your family.
Okay. There we go. Why not?
Let's hear what he actually has.
Yeah, let's hear what he has to say about the return of Quattro.
Yeah, he's a stud. He's a downhill guy, but he's got enough quickness. He's got great hands out of the backfield. He'll pass protect. He's an every down back. Fun kid to watch. He breaks tackles. You're not going to arm tackle him. He's had a tremendous year, one of the best years in the Big 12, and deserves all the accolades that he's receiving, and he's a terrific player.
Absolutely a terrific player. Definitely deserves all the accolades. The best running back that Kansas State is going to see and has seen all season long. Now, they do get the luxury of seeing DJ Giddens every day in practice, but there is something about Cam Skattebo that you can't practice for, that you can't teach, that you can't see on film. He runs through tackles. He runs through players. And by the time you get to the fourth quarter, home, away, neutral, on the moon, it does not matter. Cam Skattebo imposes his will on defenses, and I think Kansas State's defense is going to be no different.
And this is what Kleiman had to say about the rest of the offense that Kansas State is going to have to deal with.
Yeah, you are. He's going to make you miss. He's going to run over you. He's not going to get tackled by an arm tackle. He's going to push the pile forward. And they're playing really well up front. And I really like their quarterback. I think he's a perfect fit for what they're doing. I think Coach Dillingham's done a phenomenal job. They've had some success in the transfer portal for sure. Second year in the system. Those guys are playing with a lot of confidence. They have a wide receiver that is as good as we've seen in the league. He's making play after play. And I know a lot of the defensive guys. I know the D coordinator and the linebacker coach, Brian Ward and A.J. Cooper. They're great coaches. They're great human beings. They're playing at a high level. I know they probably didn't play as well as they wanted to against UCF, but I also know B. Ward and I know Coop. They'll have those guys firing on all cylinders.
I mean, locked into what he said about Jordyn Tyson, right? Jordyn Tyson the last couple of weeks is as good of a wide receiver as Kansas State will see all season long, has seen to this point in the season. And the connection and the chemistry and the synergy between Tyson and Leavitt continues to grow with each and every practice. And just thinking about the idea that these two could return next season to Tempe and run it back with what they've done this season is definitely exciting. But it's about taking care of business on the road. And, the fact of the matter is Sam Leavitt and Jordyn Tyson have been really good together at home together. On the road, they haven't necessarily been superstars, right? There's been a couple games where Jordyn Tyson has looked good on the road.
Texas State.
But Kansas, which was a game that Arizona State played at home, the Utah game at home, UCF at home.
Yeah.
You need to have one of those big, big games on the road. And what better opportunity to do it than this week on a national stage against the Wildcats?
It's a big moment.
Huge moment.
Huge. Biggest in quite some time for this team, and definitely the biggest of the Kenny Dillingham era. And if you win, it just gets bigger.
Yeah.
So this is exciting, guys. Like, we could talk about Coach of the Year. We could talk about end of the season stuff. We could talk about Territorial Cup. We could do all of that, right? But right here, right now, this is a moment, and this is a moment to get excited for. This is a moment to be ready for. This is a moment we will share together on our watch along on Saturday during the game, and of course on our post game show as well. This should be one of the best college football games this year. That's fully what I'm expecting. And if either team is disappointing, I'll be disappointed, but I'll be a little bit more disappointed if it's the ASU side of it.
Yeah, no, I think that's 100% valid. Again, we're going to be having a watch along on Saturday. So definitely make sure you tune in to that as the game's going on. It'll almost be like a glimpse into what the Die Hard Discord is kind of like. Yeah. Not that we're doing watch alongs all the time for the Die Hard Discord.
But I'm messaging up in there.
Yeah, that community.
Yeah,
side
we're watching
the
game
thing
together.
We will be doing a post-game show after that as well. And then if you just tuned in, we will have Cam Skattebo in studio tomorrow. I will be live with the Deli Man and Cam Skattebo. That is, of course, Shane Diefenbach. Captain Redbeard will be behind the Mac, making sure all the magic continues to happen. This guy won't be here. He's got stuff going on, but he will be in studio with me tomorrow evening when we do the Arizona State GCU post-game show for basketball. So it is going to be a whole heck of a lot of fun, guys. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. That is going to do it for today's episode of the PHNX Sun Devils Show. Give us a follow at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You could follow this guy, the blind mouse, also known as Jose Perez, at Erik Ruby. That is Erik with a K. You can follow the captain of this fun little ship here Do we have a name for the ship yet, Captain Redbeard?
Not yet.
Not yet. Well, you can follow the captain at K-Coop Sports, and we will see you tomorrow with the starting running back for your Arizona State Sun Devils. But in the meantime, go Devils. And peace.
We all silly like the mayor.